Hong Kong is one of the most exciting destinations, and it's the place to visit for some of the best Chinese food in the world. It is here that the Young brothers have come to do some very serious shopping. Harry, the eldest, is the chef. Jerry's the entrepreneur of the partnership. Chalk and cheese they may be, but together they run one of Manchester's most famous restaurants, the Yang Sing. Their mission? To turn the family-run business into one of the best restaurants in Europe. First stop is the Central Market. They're shopping with their uncle who runs several restaurants in Hong Kong. They're here to cook up some fresh ideas for their own Chinese restaurant. Harry's worked as a chef since he was 13, but he still loves going to the market himself. He's got a real knack for knowing both what his Chinese and Western customers really want or really don't want.
The difference in between the Hong Kong market and the Manchester market or English market is everything in here fresh, live. Now in Manchester, we hardly find something live, except occasionally we have some else. It's the different culture of the English people. When they saw something live, animal, they scream. They scream, yeah. And we get which in Hong Kong they get used to it. They want this. They want everything as fresh as possible.
Now you can see Harry's been dealing with fish for a long time. A live frog.
Stir fry with vegetables.
Yes. Well, no, hang on. The process is that you chop the head off, de-skin it, cut it open, get all the guts out, clean it. Then the meat is then used to stir fry it or steaming. Very sweet. Like beautiful chicken, but sweeter.
The Youngs started their restaurant more than 20 years ago, but all their hard work went up in smoke, literally, when they hit the headlines in 1997.
Well, now to the sad news that one of Europe's most famous Chinese restaurants, the Yang Sing in Manchester, has been destroyed in a fire.
Flames leaped from the roof of a five-storey building in Manchester city centre as the fire took hold. It's believed the blaze started in the kitchen of the Yang.
There was a sense that something unbelievable has happened. At that time, we really didn't know the enormity of the situation.
Frantic search for anyone else left in the building, but they've now all been accounted for.
But as time progressed, and we actually saw the fire, I said, God, this finish. And everybody loved this building. Every customer, every staff, they like this building. If we just walk away like that, it's not fair to everybody. So we decided we got to come back and start again.
The fire, which had started with oil overheating in a wok, had left an empty shell. But Harry and Jerry saw an opportunity to build an even better restaurant. 5 floors with state-of-the-art dining and food prepared by some of the world's best Chinese chefs. That was the plan, and a date was set for the grand reopening.
Okie dokie, it's 9:34. It's a beautiful day in Manchester, taking us through Circle Inn.
Thank you very much.
The task for getting it ready in time falls on one man. Meet Steve Wheeler, the Young's properties manager.
Half 9, still haven't had a brew.
It's April. There are only 4 months left to the reopening, and already things are going wrong. Steve can't get on with his work until the contractors have finished structural repairs.
It should have been gone in January. If they'd have been gone in January, I wouldn't be under no pressure to get this place open for August. I'd have had 8 months, not 4.
To make things worse, many of the fixtures and fittings are being designed thousands of miles away from Manchester, in Hong Kong.
I better go. I don't like to watch people struggle. And then I'm not going to help them. Oh. Be a joiner. Drink plenty of tea. Hey, got you again. Got you again. Everything's going in slow motion. And 8.5 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day. There's never enough hours in a day. No. Well, when you've got a rush on.
Round the corner, another member of the team is having a bad day. The Yangxing is operating from a hastily converted office in the next street, while the original restaurant is being rebuilt. It is far from ideal, and the banqueting manager, Hedy Gazidar, has got a major function.
Put the chairs around there, please. That explain why you were late? Huh? Were you working last night?
I was working last night.
Is that why the bar was such a mess? Did you have some late stays?
Whom?
I don't know, there was some bottle of champagne on the bar.
No, this is, what's his name? Brian, was his birthday last night.
Oh, yeah? Oh, is that why some of the staff are late?
Yeah.
Ah, they've got a bloody hangover, have they? Well, I'll make sure you lot all lose your hangover by the end of the day. And you got double shift, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. We got, I think about half the staff are late. They say it's the rain, but I didn't know that they use boats or sailing boats to get to work. But I think it's one of the staff's birthday last night, and they came in and they've got a hangover, so that's why they're all late. So we leave them to it and we sort them out after the function is finished. Last night you were drinking because it was Brian's birthday. Don't bull. Doesn't work with me. I know all the rules. Ali, can you put the towels in, please, on place of 10?
All right.
Okay? Are you suffering, are you?
No, I'm all right.
Are you? Very good.
Back in Hong Kong, Harry and Jerry's long-distance shopping trip also includes a spot of poaching. They're talent spotting for Hong Kong's top chefs to bring back to Manchester and their new restaurant. The chef specializes in one of 3 areas in Chinese cookery, either food preparation, which is seen as a skill on its own, or wok cooking, or roasting. Harry's got his eye on a very talented roasting chef.
Mr. Chen is going to employed by the Yangxing, and I'm coming to have a look at how he's doing his skill for roasting. I introduced by one of the chefs. He's been working for me last 2 years ago in Manchester. He know that I come back and look for chef for the new place. He get introduced to me, and I've been coming here secretly to taste his all his dish.
Harry knows what to look for. He's one of the few Chinese chefs to specialize in all 3 skills. He demands high standards, and his staff know it. The heat is on for Hedy as well, as guests arrive for their banquet. It's a major feat of organization, but Hedy and the staff are old hands.
Jerry, your group of fish on toast is coming down and 9 spring onion pancakes.
Seaweed special.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 more! Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Send it down. Jerry, did you get that? Spring onion pancake, only 9 coming down.
At the building site, Steve's facing another crisis and more delay. The basement's flooded.
Somebody turned it on so that he could fill up his water drum so that he could plaster today. So I don't mind a man making every effort to earn a living, but when he's putting everybody else's job on the line, then it's time to call it a draw.
Even the cellar and the lift shaft are full of water.
Well, that's about 2 foot of water. In an area that size, that's an hell of a lot of water. That's going to take the best part of a day and a half to get out of there and all. The basic idea this weekend was to try and kick this basement kitchen into life, because we appear to be progressing on all the other floors and not this one. Now, we've got our walls which are totally swept through, which means that the stainless steel cladding that goes behind all the main watt range can't be put in. We've got to dry all the damn floor out again. The tiles can't be done in that area. We can't even carry on plastering and tiling because they've no water to mix the adhesives or plaster with. Sub-basement jobs, well, that's a stop. I'm going to lose at least another week and a half. I just can't afford that.
唔係，我攞啲嘢俾阿明叔先，等我攞到嚇。
After the break, Harry and Jerry drop in on their Hong Kong relations to catch up on the family gossip. Harry's worried about his teenage daughter, Bonnie. She's at that age.
Excuse me, men behaving badly, ugly. Gary Stringer, fit.
In Uncle's typically Chinese apartment, the talk turns to Harry and Jerry's children and life for them growing up in Britain.
That's Bonnie.
Yeah. Right. Bonnie is such a pain this day. She won't listen what you tell. You tell to sit. He's walking or running.
You're just not used to growing up. That's all.
Back home in Manchester, 14-year-old Bonnie and her friends are getting ready to go out.
Even if they ask us, oh please, will you go backstage with us?
Kyla, what if
They're off to see Reef in concert, and as a birthday treat, they've been invited backstage to meet the band.
I'm not letting my mum freak. She has to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, I can't believe we're meeting them though. Joe was so jealous.
Everybody's jealous. My sister gets so jealous. Kimberly wouldn't even speak to me all day.
Yeah. I can't believe we're going to meet them. The bass guitarist is an absolute god.
So fit.
Yep. Have you got a bubble with elastic in it? I've got this one. Or do you want it to be really flat?
Just like Dead Wild and Sticky Up Ian. Wow.
You know Gary
Buffy
Stringer, the
the
lead
Vampire
singer?
Killer.
Is that his name?
Gary
Yeah.
Stringer.
Right, that guy used to be in Men Behaving Badly.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Don't be
That was the
stupid.
name.
No,
and he used to be in Men Behaving Badly.
No,
and I recognised it. It clicked in my
no,
head.
excuse me. Men behaving badly, ugly. Gary Stringer, fit.
Oh, place your hands on my home.
surfing or Ken.
Hong Kong Harbour, and the pace is a bit slower for Harry and Jerry as they stop off at a tea factory to buy new stock for the restaurant. We Chinese take tea very seriously and usually drink a lot of it. The Yangtze alone gets through a ton of tea a year. Tea is treated rather like fine wines. Even the tasting of it is an art.
Wow. You can really taste the tea that way. The favorite for the Chinese customer is pu'er, and for the English is the jasmine. How much tea are we buying this year, this trip?
I think we need a metric ton of tea leaf here.
About 1,000 kilos.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Trouble's brewing back at the building site. Steve is in even deeper water.
What the hell's going on? What? Holy sh**. Brian, go get Alan. Hey? Yeah. Whoever fitted the valves, the plumbing upstairs, left the gate valves open. They're gonna turn the water on to fill the pipework up, and all the gate valves are open. It does reach a point where you feel like, this, I've had enough of it. Grab your coat and walk off. Don't feel like coming back. Certainly I've reached that point.
Jerry's Manchester home is a hidden gem. Once a semi-derelict hospital, he's lovingly restored it. Jerry has a daughter, So Yi, who's just 12 and hasn't reached the terrible teens yet. The brothers came to Britain from Hong Kong with their sister and parents in the late 60s. They were penniless. Dad worked as a chef, and Harry followed in his footsteps to help support the family.
So most of my life is in England, mostly in Manchester. And plus I get married there, and I have children there, family there, business there. I feel the first home is Manchester. But when we come back here, then we feel that this is our home, as well as Manchester.
We lived in a place called Sha Tin. Sha Tin is now a completely built-up area now. But coming up here in the serenity of the hills, bring back the memory of our uncomplicated childhood.
Jerry, on the other hand, went to university to study philosophy and then accountancy before joining the business.
You know, we used to play on the field on top of the hills. When we see my father come home, you know, we're running back home and studying.
village in ancient China, there was a young woman named Mulan. She lived with her father.
Harry has 2 boys as well as Bonnie. Neither brother expects the children to follow in their footsteps, but they do want them to remember their roots.
Shut up, Yinto. Trying to do my work.
Jerry's eldest is 14-year-old Yin Pan. Their childhood are very different from their parents.
They are much more anglicized than they are Chinese. Culturally, I would like them to retain as much of the Chineseness as possible. I think that's partly our fault. We don't bring them back often enough.
Back to the hustle and bustle of Hong Kong, there's a small matter of a £2 million restaurant refit to sort out. Everything from pots and pans to glass pillars to Chinese wall paneling is being bought in the Far East.
Well, no, in the restaurant we want the cruet sets and teapots.
Yeah, the teapot we have to look for the bigger size one, because we only got the small size.
What about big size? What about little things like baby chopsticks and things? 喂，早晨，陳小姐。
呢個係仲有啲乜嘢？
瓷碟啊嗰啲，嗰啲咯，瓷器嗰啲咯，得㗎。
你嗰啲你嗰啲價錢啱㗎嘛係嘛？
啱啊，跟翻。
冇貴㗎嘛係嘛？咁然後咧？然後咧？
跟翻上一次香港，而家市道唔好應該再減價先係啊嘛。
市道唔好減價。
呢個係飯盤係咪？
其他嗰啲垃圾。
呢兩個 size 嘅飯盤係咪？仲有一個 size 㗎係咪？係咪仲有 size？
Next stop, a wok range factory run by Mr. Mok. Harry's buying 20 ranges. Each floor of the new restaurant will have its own kitchen. It takes about 6 weeks to ship them. So close to the reopening, there's no time for changes.
點啊？啲工程搞成點啊？嚇？幾好。Harry, that's yours.
呢套嘢我哋㗎啦。啊
Harry, it seems a bit bigger than what I think.
46.
Is that the right size, Harry?
Yeah, it's the right size.
It's the right size. Okay.
It's the right size, yeah.
But the whole thing, it just looks so big.
It's all right. If it's too big, we don't pay Mr. Mok.
Next on the shopping list is one of the greatest delicacies in Chinese cookery, shark's fin.
It's the best one.
It's pretty tasteless on its own, but it's usually made into soup and very expensive.
Yeah, it's a very special dish and a very dear dish, you know, which they either have a special occasion or a special ceremony, and they have shark's fin. Regarding if you can obtain the health certificate, we are prepared to buy £400 of each kind. Yeah?
In weight, you mean?
In weight, yeah.
That's about 48,000 pounds in sterling. It's been a busy day for everyone in Manchester, too.
It's only a matter of time.
From the minute you take the booking to the minute that the customers leaves and the checks clear and the visas are settled and whatever, it's a tremendous effort for everyone's behalf, the waiting staff, the chefs, managers, and the party organizers, as you can hear. So we will probably have less of a hangover than they will tomorrow.
All those dishes dirty. Look at it.
Next week, Harry and Jerry are back, and it's time to get tough.
How's the problem in mid-August, end of August? Okay. I mean, you must... Sorry, you're the worst offender, Peter, so I've got to emphasize to you that you've got to bring them in.